So surely I have to say, this has been an up and down and up and down. But this right here was very lackluster. But I will leave you with it. Who's left? Who is left? I thought it was very interesting. Who's left? The black woman, her homosexual sidekick, and the lineage. Strange. Very strange. Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. This is my review for season 1, episode 10, which is the finale of Lovecraft Country. Like I said, really, really weird about who's left, honey. The black woman. That's what stuck out to me. It's how sad this ending was. And the fact that who's left is the black woman is left there to take care of the lineage. She's there to take care of everything that came before her and everything that's going to come after her. And she's left with her homosexual sidekick. I just kind of laughed. I said, well, okay. Okay. Anyway, let's talk. So, I definitely have to say, last week's episode was way better. This finale was lackluster, to say the least. I was really, really let down. I can't believe we actually sat 10 episodes to get to this, and this is what you all have. But whatever. Anyway, so we got D. D is still in this whole thing of they're trying to save her from becoming a jigaboo, and she's still in jigaboo fair. She's like all jigabooed out, and that one arm is just dead as hell. Oh, that arm was dead. All heavy and limp. I said, it looked like this barnacle. I was like, girl, that's nasty. Anyway, so we have to go with this here thing with this book. And they start to saying, it's Tick and Letty, they start doing this whole chant. And the book of names basically opens up. It opens up. And then the two of them pass out. And it takes them somewhere back into some realm. And they end up, Tick ends up with Hannah. And Letty ends up with great-grandma, with Hattie. She ends up with Hattie. And she's saying, don't worry, no, just chill out. Hattie's telling Letty, just chill out. What needs to happen is you need to not be scared and make the mistakes that Hannah made. Don't be scared of the magic. You need to learn it, learn to use it, learn of its strength, because you're going to need it. So Hattie basically was letting Letty know from the door, baby, you're that girl. It's all going to fall on your shoulders. So that's just that. And she said, you're not going to be hurt, because you can see the fire. They're back at the house. You can see the fire because that's basically where Hattie's stuck. Or so. So, and then you got Tick over there with Hannah. And Hannah told him, the fire can't hurt you. I learned, I was afraid. I was afraid of it. You can't be scared of the magic. The magic is a gift. The fire is my rage. And I learned to control it. She used to think that she was in hell because of some of the decisions that she actually made. And that's when, they kind of were leading more on to that the baby she was carrying was actually half and half. The baby was half the Masters and half that. So it's basically Titus. It's his baby and all this kind of carrying on. So after they do all that, Tick sees Hannah, Letty sees Hattie. Then Tick ends up visiting his mom. And she told him, don't be scared. This is a beginning. It's not an end. But basically really preparing him to know that he's going to die. I mean, he knows it. But I think in his mind he thought maybe something might change. But no, it's definite. You're definitely going to die in this situation. And the mother told, you're going to save them all. You're literally going to save them all. So that was that. And I didn't catch that at first. What she meant by you're going to save them all. I'm thinking it's just the family, but no, it's not just the family. It's the family as a whole. All meant all of us. All of us. Everybody that looked like me. That's what I got from it. I said, okay. So they get through all that, and then at the same time all this is going on, you got Montrose and Hippolyta is trying to wake them up in real time, in present day. They're just trying to wake them up. And then they start doing this chant. The mother, Hattie, Letty, and Tick. And they were trying to do this chant, and we actually see Dee start coming out of what was going on. She started like turning back into Dee, like her hair started growing back out all pretty, and her face started clearing up. But that arm, baby, that arm. They could say that arm, baby. That barnacle arm was terrible. But anyway, so they end up waking up. All of this stuff is going on. They know where they got to go. They still got to get with Titus. They got to get with Titus to do the spell. They were talking about doing this whole thing of messing up the spell to try to stop Christina. So they had to get a piece of Titus's organ. They got to get a piece of Christina. So they need like her blood some kind of way, or an organ, and mix it with they got to mix all that with Tick to be able to like counteract everything, to stop everything. So they end up summoning Titus. They do this whole thing where they summon Titus. It went left. It went left because they summoned him. He was kind of startled, like, what the hell? Who are you? And who are you? And how did you get here? Because when they did it, they did the circle. And you got Letty. You got Letty, Hannah, Hattie, the mama, and Tick. And he ends up going away and going to find Christina. And he basically kind of got the chance to warn Christina. Christina was with Ruby. He got the chance to kind of warn Christina and told her he caused a car wreck. They were coming down the street, and he ended up like flashing in front of the car and made the car wrecked. Ruby was driving, wrecked the car. They didn't get hurt. But then she got on, he told Christina, those niggers have that book of names. And then right when he was doing that, baby, they summoned him back, but they didn't get him before he was able to drop that dime on him, baby. But they didn't know. But they pull her over there. Boom. They get him, and they basically do away with him. They did do away with Titus. Tick jumped on him and cut out a piece of his liver. And they were able to get rid of Titus. Okay, so they got rid of him. I was like, okay, it was getting crazy because they was really tying it up. Stuff started happening too easy. Like, to get up on top of Titus and cut him, it was too easy. But anyway, all of this happens. Christina don't know that Titus, that they got that. She didn't know about them messing with the spell, trying to counteract her spell and stuff. But she ends up coming to the house. And she says to them, to the whole group, you have the book of names. Why don't you just give it to me? Give me the book, and I'll go ahead and take, I'll promise to leave. You give me the book of names, I could really work it from a different angle, and I'll take Tick out of the whole situation, and that'll spare Tick. all together, because this is not personal. I just need him to do what it is I'm trying to do. But if I can figure out a way in the book will let me figure out a way to do it without harming him. But don't nobody trust her, child. And yeah, don't nobody trust her at all. So that's that. So she ends up going out. They're like, no, we ain't giving you the book. So Christina goes to walk out. She's pissed off. She walked past Letty, and then she muttered out something and reversed the invulnerability spell that was on Letty. So I was like, oh, so they know right now it's just all out war now. Because now everything is at stake. And Christina done drew the line in the sand, okay? So next we end up seeing Tick goes to Jing. He gets Jing, and he basically told her, she ended up telling him that her mom had died. Just telling him basically what went on with her and all that. And he apologized to her for how he talked to her. And he told her, with what we've actually been through, you and I are family. So, because she was saying, her mother started to treat her like a daughter again. And now that her mother died, she doesn't even know, she'll never experience that again and all of that. And he explained to her she didn't know the feelings that she was going through. He explained to her, what you're going through right now is grief. It's grief is what you're actually going through. Explain how grieving was and what it was. And explain to her that we are family. We're family. The things that we've shared, basically, she took his virginity and this, that, thing, and the other. And they're just connected on a whole nother level that she is part of their family. And so now they got her on board. Now remember, she's supernatural as well. So I said, I don't know where her foxtails is going to fit in here, but hell, with everything that's going on, baby, we need all the help that we can get. You a minority girlfriend. It's turning out to be a whole black versus white versus just a minority battle, period. Girl, get your Asian behind on over here with us. You family, girl. You weird like us. Let's go. We're going to get it. So she come on over. She's on board. She's in love with Tick too. So I was like, oh, how's that going to happen with Letty? That I got pissed off about because that was a whole piece of a storyline. We could have did a whole nother episode with that because you remember how Letty felt about when Jing came into the picture. So they just kind of skipped over that, just grazed over that. We didn't even touch that at all. Baby. That wouldn't have went like that in real life because Letty just learning about loving a man like that. And Jing that's the issue. He loves Jing and Jing loves him. That's the issue. So they just kind of grazed over that. I was pissed off about that. What did y'all think about that? Put it down in the comments. Anyway, through all of this, Dee is running around. She's pissed at Hippolyta. She's pissed at Hippolyta. Hippolyta's telling her about all the things that she's done and how she learned how to do this, that, thing, and the other, and on and on and on. And she's pissed with her mother. Told her, you left me. You left me here. You left me unprotected. And then told her, you probably couldn't help me anyway. This, that, thing, and the other. She said, but you did. You left me. And this, that, thing, and the other. You didn't have to stay that long. And what about me? You went here, there, and you learned how to do this, that, and the other. You helped these people with that. What about me? So she's pissed with her. Then she ends up going and she ends up showing her. She's saying, that she was never going to be able to draw again because she had that old dead ass arm. And she told her, she said, no. She said, let me show you something. And she took her, and we didn't see until the end actually what she actually showed Dee. But she showed Dee some stuff, and she would go in, and you can see there was lights or something going on in the room. Something going on in the room, something that Hippolyta had done learned. And we didn't know what it was, but I'll tell you when we get to the end. Anyway, in the meantime, in between time, we need all our family together. Ruby and Letty have a conversation. And Letty's like, we need you, because we need all our family, and honey, Ruby told her, that's all nice what you're saying, but you only want me to be your sister now because you want something. You're doing it again. You don't even realize you're doing it. You do it so much that you don't even realize that you're doing it. You basically trying to use me. And I'm not on board for it. I'm not here for it. So that was that. Then she ends up going on back to Christina. And her and Christina are having this little chat. And Ruby was like asking her different questions about, Because she had told her basically, you're the only one that can get close to Christina. You know, and she's like, I ain't doing the Letty. Denied the request. So then she ends up going back to Christina, and then she ends up having her first lesbian sex experience with Christina. She didn't change or do any of that stuff. But during the conversation, she was talking to her, and she was paying a lot of attention to what she was saying about spells and all of this, and she was listening to her. And I was like, what you doing, Ruby? Anyway, so that was that. So shortly after that, everybody gets together. Now they all load up in the car, baby, and they're all on their way to Artem, honey. Everybody, the whole crew. You got Montrose, you got Dee, you got Zheng, you got Letty, you got Hippolyta, you got Tick. They all in the car, baby. They singing this little song going on down the road. They go to Artem. They get to Artem. They're doing everything they need to do. They're getting ready to counteract this spell. Remember the monster. The monster is at home in the basement. Because we end up seeing him in the basement. He was snapping out down in the basement. And Tick had calmed him. And went on. And I was like, okay. Anyway, so that was that. They get there. They start doing everything. And this is when it started really going fast. Everything started moving very, very fast. And I was getting really pissed off because this episode needed to be broken up into, I believe, like 3 episodes, really, for me to be satisfied. It could have been broken up into 3 different episodes, and we could have expanded on this. Everything just was too fast. It just went Tyler Perry speed, which y'all know I hate, when everything's crunched in and things just start happening too fast and too easy. But anyway, they're supposed to be counteracting the spell. Ruby actually had came back too. Ruby, I knew there was somebody else in the car. Ruby was in the car because she had came back. She had the valve of blood with Christina's blood in it. She found, with the potion, what they was using to switch back and forth, that had William's blood, Christina's blood, and the other white woman. All their blood was in it, so she got a valve of it. So they get there, they get their plan together. They're building putting down little spells and the potions and all this stuff where they have to. Now, Montrose and Tick is standing there, and Tick's the one that has to go on in there because naturally they're going to meet for the whole thing. So they got everything all set up. The people is ready, and Christina is there, supposed to be there, and they got to go when the moon's at the high spot or whatever, and all this mess. Tick ends up eating Titus's liver, drinking the potion. So now everything is together. He got everything that he needs. And it's supposed to counter when they go to do whatever they're going to do with him. The blood from him is going to counteract what Christina's doing and knock out. It's going to reverse everything. Instead of her moving forward, everything's going to reverse. So they get out there, they're doing their thing. And then there's this conversation going on between Letty and Ruby. And then we figure out that Ruby ain't Ruby. Ruby is actually dead. Christina pulled a switcheroo and then turned herself into Ruby and came in there. So what Tick actually did wasn't going to help at all because he got Titus' stuff, but he don't have any of Christina's stuff. It's actually a potion that is it's just Ruby's blood. It ain't got none of Christina's blood in it. So it ain't no good. It wasn't no old valve of blood. It just wasn't no good. And he done drank it and ate that shit, and none of that ain't no good. Ruby and Letty end up having this fight, which is actually Christina and Letty. They having this whole fight. And we just see Ruby end up Christina throws Letty off of this tower. Bust her back. Bam! On the ground. Bust her back. So that was that. Tore her up. So we thought, I'm like, damn, is Letty dead? We think she dead. She ain't dead, child. They get over there to the thing. By this time, the whole switcheroo didn't happen. Christina done show back up as Christina. She goes over there and she get Tick up there and he's strapped to this whole thing and he's in this apparatus and she go by and slit his arms, baby. When I say slit his wrist, from here all the way up, I said, girl, she done really got him, honey. He was giving whoosh, honey. And the blood was pouring out. She goes stand up under it, and the moon is up high, and the blood go down, and you start to see his power draining and going in him. And child, she ends up telling him, you know, you're too late, and it wasn't what you thought it was. And Letty's dead. He said, "Where's Letty? Where's Letty?" It's like, she's dead, honey. And he basically figures out, oh God, all of this was for nothing. I ain't saved nobody. This is all screwed up. So he's over there, baby. He crying, and it was just a whole big old mess. And the townspeople had attacked everybody else. Like, they all knew the thing. They had attacked them. They had a big old fight and all this. So as it's all going down, Christina ends up getting her immortality. And right before Tick actually passes out, well, he didn't pass, he died, honey. Right before he died, he sees Letty, and he smiled because Letty wasn't dead, honey. So he said, okay, so that's that. So the baby still could be born and all that. Letty sneak up behind Christina and just stabs her straight through her with this big old sword. And she's like, you're too late. It doesn't matter. You can see everything just healing right up like the X-Men. She was healing up like Wolverine, honey. And it was like, okay, so Letty just started chanting this chant and all this, and you start seeing all of this dark magic. Like you seen this dark cloud start spinning and all of this. It was a whole mess. So everything's going on. Meanwhile, you see all of this. While this is going on, they had left D in the car. You start hearing some stuff going on. The monsters that's out there at Artem, they're all surrounding the car and stuff. And they was trying to get in there to get D. And right when they were getting in there to get D, the one that is attached to, because he's darker, he's a darker color, the one that's attached to Tick came and jacked the ones up that was trying to get D. So that was that. Just keep that in mind. That was that. D's okay. Because the thing was protecting D. So Jing ends up saying, she ends up thinking about what the shaman has said. And the shaman said, you have not become one with the darkness yet. And you'll see plenty more deaths and things before you are done in your journey. And she told them, I need to get up to those steps where the black smoke was actually rising, which was the darkness. So she ends up getting up there. She runs up there, and she gets right in the midst of the darkness. And baby, her foxtails come out. And she grabs Christina with part of it, and she grabs Tick with the other part of it, and she's in the middle. And you start seeing this transference of power and stuff, because Christina was kind of giving them the blues there for a minute. And it was just kind of weird, and it really didn't make sense. But anyway, she was able to take Christina, and she slammed Christina real hard. Couldn't save Tick. Tick did die. He died. But she slammed Christina real hard and like covered her with like boulders. So she was just stuck there because you can't kill her. She's immortal. You can't kill her. But stuck her there, and she was like covered in these things, and she's stuck there. And Tick done died. And that's that. And they're like, okay, it is what it is. You know, we stopped her because she's just there. Like, they just have her. She's just there. I don't know whose idea that was or what that was supposed to do, but she was stuck in the rubble. She's locked down in the rubble. And that was that. And that was the only way to stop them, because she was Gary Jack all them up. So that was that. They're all, at this point, walking out. They're going back toward the car. So they're walking out, and they're carrying Tick's body, because there was this whole moment with Montrose. Montrose saying, wake up, Tick, wake up, Tick. They're like, no, baby, he gone. And they gave him this letter. And then the letter, Tick has said to him, you know, basically all is forgiven, and, you know, you're going to get the chance to be the grandfather to the child that you wanted to be, that dad to me. You're going to get the chance to do all that, take care of my family, and take care of everybody. So that was that. And this is what they had ended up telling Christina. You didn't totally win. They ended up, when Jing did what she did, it took the magic off of her. So they said that She's immortal, but magic was snatched away from her. So she just is around and she's just a regular person, but she has no magic, so she can't do nothing. And then they got her locked under these things. So it just kind of is what it is. And that's when Letty said, we own magic now. They bound, and she said, what do you mean you bound? She said, no, we didn't bound everybody. We bound every white person. Every white person there is bound, and magic now belongs to the black people. I said, okay. That was real corny. That was real Tyler Perry. It made me really, really pissed that I did 10 weeks, and now you want to try to tell me that now ain't no white folks that could do witchcraft, that it's all us. I was like, whatever. So they end up walking away. They're walking away, and they got Tick's body and all of that. And then Dee walks up. Dee walks up, and she got the monster with her. And Christina's there, and Christina's saying, help me, help me. And she said to her, she said, look, you're still doing it. You never learn. And took her jacket off of her one arm, of her arm that got the dead arm. Well, it's a whole complete robotic arm at this point. I said, oh, Lord. So now here it is. Basically, Hippolyta done turned Dee into a fembot, honey. And she reached down there and grabbed her by her neck, honey, and cracked her, honey, and her neck, honey, her neck was all black and blue and broke her neck. But I said, but she's immortal, so that doesn't really matter. I guess she just keep coming back, breaking her neck. But then the little monster went up and howled at the moonlight, and that's where it ended. And I said, this is crazy. So when you see them walking out, you see Letty, and we know that Letty now is, like I said, has the weight of the world on her shoulders. Black people own all magic now. Letty has to take care of all of our ancestors, basically, like any... She's in control. You know, she is standing in the gap for all of our ancestors, and she's carrying the new major warlock, I guess is what he's going to be. And then she basically has Montrose, who is going to teach him how to be a man and raise him up, you know, and be a good grandfather to him. And we got Hippolyta, Hippolyta's just a bad bitch in general. And then we got Dee, you know, but Hippolyta is, you know, Hippolyta's like a whole alien now. You know, she's like alien intelligence. And we got Jing, honey. So literally, that's why I said, who's left, honey? Who's left? And I said the black woman, but really and truly the melanated woman, because we still got Jing. Jing's still a bad bitch in this whole thing. So the melanated woman, the homosexual counterpart, and then our youth is who we have. I said, that was weird because you kind of took the black man, like the regular heterosexual black man, out of the whole thing. That was weird to me. And maybe I'm putting too much into it. I didn't like that. I didn't like that too much. It was like, what was that all about? Maybe I'm going to a place I shouldn't go, but I didn't understand it. The way that everything happened, we didn't have to kill Tick. We could have kept everybody. We didn't have to kill Tick. What we kill Tick for? Anyway, but that's all I got. I was like, this is all crazy. It was a letdown for me. It was a letdown for me. That's what I got out of it, y'all. So let's talk. Let's talk till it come back. If it come back. If it does come back in a season 2, I'll watch. But just because it's so goddamn weird, I want to see where they're going to go. But I hated this finale. I didn't like this finale at all. But anyway, let's talk. Let me see what you guys got to say. Later. Wraps on this one.